Hello, this is just a quick demonstration of Riley Hammond's Module 1 open-ended project. Mostly the program can be split up into card, deck, and main. So just run through it real quick. Card is able to represent a playing card in any kind of card game. And it stores an integer for the numeric value of the card. For example, 2, 10, 11, or 13, for example, would be a king. And it uses an enumerated type to represent the suit. Card is capable of being constructed just blank, just basically a temporary holding spot, or it can take a number and a suit. You can also set another card to be a copy of this one, which is a little more complex, but basically it just copies the one card's number and suit onto another. Then there's just getters for the number and the suit. I've also overloaded equals equals, greater than and less than, which compares the value of the cards based on their number. So for example, a 2 of spades would be greater than an ace of diamonds or an ace of hearts or an ace of spades. All that matters is the actual number. And then I also overloaded OS stream, or I guess technically I overloaded the this operator here, the two brackets, which basically just reformatted it to print out as, like, for example, King of Hearts for easy readability. Then there's deck. A deck mostly revolves around a queue of the card objects I talked about earlier. When they're constructed, they will take an enumerated type of deck type that will either be empty or full. An empty deck will be built with 0 cards, and a full deck will start with the standard full 52. The way these decks interact then to give the players their decks is the method split deck. It takes a pointer for a second deck when called from this one, and it'll basically take half of the cards from the deck object that calls it, remove the cards, and then give it to the queue of the second deck. Shuffle does what you'd expect of just rearranging all the cards in random order. Is empty is basically a way to check if the deck is empty. So for example, if one player lost, then you have add card, and pull a card is to remove cards. And then just getters for size, and then the card at the front of the queue. So just quickly to demonstrate the functionality of main, go ahead and run it here. Make it larger. You can see it starts with a brief explanation of the rules. In case you don't know, war basically functions by starting each player with an even 26 cards, and then every round, both players flip over a card and compare the value on them. So whichever player then gets a card of a higher value collects both of the cards and puts them on the bottom of their deck, and whichever player runs out of cards first loses. In order to draw a card, you do have to enter the character Y. You can see that there is some actual input validation here to make sure the person does it right. You can use a capital Y or a lowercase y. And you can see what happens each round is that each will draw a card, and then the computer will compare them for me and let me know what happened. So here, my 9 of spades lost the computer's 10 of hearts, leaving me with a deck size of 25 since I lost a card. Similar thing happened next turn. 2 of hearts is smaller than 7 of spades, so I have 24 left. Here we go. Then I finally won for my jack of diamonds beat the computer's 10 of clubs, bringing me back up to a 25. I'm not going to waste both of our times by sitting here for an hour spamming Y until one of us wins, but it is a win condition for if either player eventually runs out of cards. And another notable thing is that I chose to handle ties in this version just by distributing the cards back to the original player who flipped them, instead of doing the usual version, which is more complex. And that should be all the basic functionality, and thank you.